Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to MUN News. Tonight, we return to our ongoing coverage of the conflict in the South China Sea. We begin with hopeful news, as ASEAN recently announced plans to negotiate a code of conduct with China over the South China Sea. ASEAN members have been seeking to implement a code for many years. However, the Defense Minister of Singapore has offered a word of caution, saying, "We hope it will be expedited, but it's a very, very complex issue. It's a centuries-old dispute. Expecting the code in 1 year is just unrealistic." In addition to negotiating a code of conduct, ASEAN and China will also be participating in joint maritime military exercises later this year. All 10 members of ASEAN have accepted China's invitation to participate. The defense minister has called the invitation a very friendly gesture and reported that his fellow ASEAN defense ministers are enthusiastic about the idea, which will build trust and confidence among the centuries. Finally, China has begun to upgrade telecom services on some of the disputed lands to 4G services. It is expected this project will be completed by
We interrupt this broadcast for an emergency update on the situation in Taiwan. At 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday night, a magnitude 6.4 earthquake, centered 14 miles northeast of the coastal city of Hualien, hit Taiwan. Early reports stated that 4 people were dead and 145 were missing. The Hualien County Disaster Response Center reported that at least 225 people were injured. The National Fire Agency stated that 149 people were excavated and that the damage from the earthquake left 40,000 people without water and 645 without electricity. Today, reports were updated to claim that 6 were dead and dozens may be trapped. The president of Taiwan visited the site today and tweeted a thank you to the first responders, adding, "Right now, 145 people remain unaccounted for. We will not rest until all are found." By 3 p.m. today, the number of missing dropped from 145 to 88 as survivors were rescued, and is expected to drop further as other buildings are searched and confirmed to be empty. Taiwan is no stranger to earthquakes. Over 90 weak quakes were recorded along Taiwan's east coast in the week preceding Tuesday's quake, and 2 earthquakes of magnitudes 5.3 and 6.1 were recorded within 15 minutes of each other on Sunday night near Hualien. The earthquake on Tuesday also happened to be on the anniversary of an earthquake in southern Taiwan, which leveled a 17-story building in Taiwan City and killed 117 people. Taiwan's emergency response teams were performed admirably and should be commended for their role in minimizing the damage caused by the quake. By noon, water was returned to almost 5,000 households and power had been restored to about 1,700. It should be noted, however, that the main causes of death and injury were 4 buildings whose first floor collapsed under the stress of the earthquake. Moving forward, this may be open a discussion on Taiwanese building codes and alterations that should be made to prevent this sort of tragic outcome from happening again. We now take you to our disaster desk for more information. Thank you.
Welcome to the disaster desk. Tonight, our safety tips are provided by the Victoria State Emergency Service and Ready.gov. When it comes to earthquakes, remember that there are 7 major hazards: the collapse of buildings, falling debris, the collapse of highways and other tall structures, the breakage of water and gas mains, which can result in uncontrollable fires, landslides, subsidence or the gradual caving or sinking in of an area of land, and tsunamis generated by seismic waves. If you do find yourself in the middle of an earthquake, here are a few tips that may help you. If you're inside a building, do not try and exit while it's shaking. Most injuries occur when people try to move locations while inside a building. Instead, get on the floor and hide under a sturdy desk or a table. If no desk or table is nearby, try to avoid things at risk of falling on you, such as glass, light fixtures, outdoor walls, or even doors. And cover your head and neck with your arms to minimize any damage from falling debris. Lastly, do not use the elevators. If you are outside when the earthquake begins, try to avoid things like buildings, street lamps, and utility wires. Once in a safe area, drop cover and hold on. If you're in a car when the earthquake begins, stop your car in a safe, clear area as quickly as you can and remain in your vehicle until the shaking has subsided. If you do end up trapped under debris, do not light matches, do not move around or kick up dust, cover your mouth with cloth or clothing, tap on a pipe or wall so rescuers can locate you, use a whistle if you have one, and shout only as a last resort because it can cause you to inhale dangerous amounts of dust. Thank you for being responsible. Disaster Desk signing off.